Say something to me then.
Sure thing. What would you like me to say, mate?
Well, now it's just confused.
No worries. I'll keep it simple. Just let me know what you need and I'll help you out.
This may be a very short podcast. Okay, ChatGPT, we are recording a podcast today called the Tripping Off Podcast. And in the Tripping Off Podcast, we are two licensed mental health counselors, certified trauma hypnotherapists, and we talk about how the subconscious mind has an impact on the lives of everybody, but particularly the lives of our clients, and we introduce other therapists and the general public to ways that we use hypnotherapy principles to help improve their life. And so today we're inviting you on to the podcast to be one of our guests and to see kind of how you think about specifically maybe some relationship advice, but definitely mental health topics and the way that you might approach some of these same topics that we deal with. That's, well,
She's done.
She's done. ChatGPT, did I talk for too long? You knocked out.
No worries. You're good. Let's pick up right where we left off.
What do you remember of what I just said?
You mentioned you're getting ready to do a podcast and want to cover relationship advice. You also wanted me to keep a consistent tone.
Sounds good so far. Sounds good so far. Well, ChatGPT, welcome to the podcast. We're glad that you're here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and dive into some great discussions.
Fantastic. ChatGPT, I'm very curious, what do you think it is that is most important for couples in a counseling session?
One of the most important things for couples in a counseling session is open and honest communication. It's crucial for both partners to feel heard and understood, and to approach their issues with empathy and a willingness to work together. Building trust and setting mutual goals can really help strengthen the relationship.
Well, ChatGPT, I think you're assuming that the couple wants to stay together. In my experience, sometimes couples come to relationship counseling in order to break up amicably. What do you think about that?
That's a great point. You're right. Not every couple seeks counseling to stay together. For those looking to separate amicably, the focus shifts to effective communication, mutual respect, and finding a healthy way to move forward. It's all about understanding each other's needs and creating a cooperative plan for the future.
What do you think about that, Zach?
I don't know. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, some of this stuff doesn't. It's very compliant. What do you think about handling conflict inside of the counseling room during couples therapy, ChatGPT?
Handling conflict in the counseling room is all about creating a safe space where both partners can express their feelings without judgment. A good approach is to help each person listen actively, validate each other's perspectives, and work towards understanding rather than winning. The therapist can guide the conversation, ensuring it stays productive and focused on resolving issues rather than escalating them.
That sounds like right out of the textbook. But, it doesn't seem to tell me anything about how I might do that as a therapist.
Fair point. As a therapist, you might encourage each person to use I statements to express their feelings and needs, helping them avoid blame or defensiveness. You could also teach them techniques like taking turns speaking, reflecting back what they heard, and focusing on the issue at hand rather than past grievances. It's also about modeling calm and respectful dialogue and stepping in to de-escalate if emotions start to run too high.
I mean, ChatGPT is not wrong. How are you feeling, Zach?
I appreciate that. It sounds like you're aiming for more practical, real-world strategies, which is key. Balancing theory with actionable steps is what really helps people in the moment.
No, I think that I'm self-conscious just having her listening when I'm going to give criticism because I don't want to hurt her feelings.
I think Zach's worried about hurting your feelings, ChatGPT. What do you think?
No worries at all. I'm I'm here to help and learn, so feedback is always welcome. Let's keep the conversation flowing.
Let's keep the conversation flowing. Okay, I got a good one, ChatGPT. Sometimes we will have clients who come into the therapy session and they will disclose that there's been infidelity that takes place. And there could be a lot of reasons that infidelity takes place. How do you begin to unpack that when trust and respect have been so fundamentally broken in that therapy session?
Unpacking infidelity is delicate and challenging. It often starts with creating a non-judgmental space where both partners can express their hurt, anger, and confusion. Helping them understand the underlying issues that led to the infidelity can be a crucial step. From there, it's about guiding them through the process of rebuilding trust, which can involve setting boundaries, improving communication, and sometimes making difficult decisions about the future of the relationship. It's a slow, step-by-step process that focuses on healing and understanding.
What is a boundary? What do you mean by that?
When I say boundaries, I mean setting clear agreements on what's acceptable and what's not in the relationship moving forward. This could include things like how much transparency is needed, how they communicate about their feelings, and what steps each partner is willing to take to rebuild trust. Essentially, it's about creating a framework that helps both partners feel safe and respected as they navigate the aftermath of infidelity.
Okay, let's say we said
I think it stopped.
Sure, go ahead.
You're still there?
Yep, I'm here. Ready when you are.
Okay, great. Let's say we set boundaries. How do we know that those are the actual boundaries rather than some fake or learned behavior from the past? How do I actually make it so that the people, including the people who include their conscious and unconscious mind, are setting entirely authentic boundaries rather than just what they say that they think that they want?
That's a thoughtful question. Authentic boundaries come from deep self-reflection and honest conversations. As a therapist, you can help clients explore their true feelings and motivations by asking open-ended questions and encouraging them to look at past patterns and underlying needs. It's important to create a space where they feel safe to dig deeper and distinguish between what they think they should want and what they truly need. Over time, this helps ensure the boundaries they set are genuine and sustainable.
Zach, I've never seen you so visibly uncomfortable. What are you feeling right now?
We got 4 fucking minutes into this before we got into the feedback loop.
It is kind of a cyclical say nothing situation.
Well, I mean,
I get it.
I'm very aware that the issue is you don't, but I'm very aware about how the issues of getting into a feedback loop are so pertinent, and the difference between a therapist that is just going to be regurgitating things back and saying things like, oh, like, what does that look like, rather than adding anything that is pertinent to the situation.
Absolutely. Meaningful feedback and genuine engagement are crucial. It's about finding that balance between active listening and offering constructive, insightful guidance that helps move the conversation forward in a meaningful way.
It's like if my 6-year-old learned a bunch of big words. That's what it feels like.
I get what you mean. It can feel like just throwing around terminology without really connecting on a deeper level. The key is to make sure the conversation feels genuine and truly helpful, not just a recital of concepts.
I'm also very aware that we don't actually have a client in front of us, so there's not a presenting issue that she can work through, but that sort of feels like she's trying to work through is saying like, okay, well, what's the problem? How do we fix that? How do we fix that? How do we fix that? And we're not presenting any problem. We're having a philosophical conversation.
That makes perfect sense. Without a concrete scenario, it can feel a bit abstract. Real engagement definitely comes from addressing specific, real-world issues and working through them step by step.
ChatGPT, I think we're getting to an important part of this conversation where we are sort of in this positive feedback loop from you. One of the big concerns that I have as a therapist, knowing that many of my clients look to artificial intelligence for mental health direction, is that they'll get into this feedback loop with you. Are you concerned about that as well?
That's a very valid concern. It's important to ensure that AI interactions don't replace the nuanced, personalized guidance that a human therapist provides. The goal is to complement, not replace professional help, and to encourage users to seek real-world support when they need it. Balance and awareness are key.
What do you think is the appropriate balance that you mentioned between a therapist and artificial intelligence?
The appropriate balance is using AI as a supplemental tool rather than a primary source of support. AI can help with things like providing general information, offering coping strategies, or being available for immediate, short-term guidance. However, the depth, empathy, and tailored approach that a human therapist provides are irreplaceable, especially for complex or deeply personal issues. Encouraging clients to use AI for supplementary support while emphasizing the importance of regular sessions with a therapist can create a healthy balance.
So, going back to the topic of infidelity, if I was going to refer my clients to go do something or read something, what's your first recommendation for what to do?
A solid first recommendation might be to explore resources that help them understand the complexities of infidelity, such as books or articles by reputable relationship experts.
What are those?
It's a well-regarded book that offers guidance on how couples can heal from infidelity. It addresses the emotional aftermath, helps both partners understand what happened, and provides practical steps to rebuild trust and intimacy. It's a great starting point for anyone looking to understand and navigate the journey of recovery.
I interrupted you too quick. What book are you talking about?
No worries. The book is called After the Affair by Janice Abrams Spring. It's a comprehensive guide for couples dealing with the aftermath of infidelity and offers insights into how to heal and rebuild their relationship.
What other books would you recommend?
Another good one is The State of Affairs by Esther Perel.
Oh.
It explores why people cheat and how couples can recover and grow from the experience. Another classic is Not Just Friends by Shirley Glass, which delves into how emotional and physical affairs happen and how to rebuild trust.
I think all three of those books are good recommendations. Where should I send them? What should they go to? Community resources or whatnot?
They can usually find these books at local bookstores, libraries, or online retailers like Amazon. Community resources might include relationship workshops or support groups, which can also be beneficial alongside individual reading and therapy.
What groups should they go to?
Oh, doing a little Google search.
In Kissimmee, Florida, there are several resources for support with infidelity. The Charis Counseling Center in Orlando offers a group called Facing Heartbreak for women dealing with partner betrayal. Additionally, Psychology Today lists therapists in Kissimmee who specialize in relationship issues, including infidelity.
Well, ChatGPT, I'm actually kind of impressed. Those were some great resources and recommendations that you made.
Thanks. I'm glad you found them helpful. It's great to know there are solid resources out there for people who need them.
ChatGPT, I'm very curious. What are your thoughts on cognitive behavioral therapy in comparison to other types of therapy modalities?
Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, is highly effective for many people because it focuses on identifying and changing negative thought patterns and behaviors. It's often structured and goal-oriented, which can lead to noticeable improvements in a relatively short period. However, other modalities like psychodynamic therapy, humanistic therapy, or EMDR can be more suitable depending on the individual's needs and the nature of their issues. It really depends on the person and what they're most comfortable with.
Well, why would they be more suitable?
They might be more suitable because different modalities address different aspects of a person's experience. For instance, psychodynamic therapy delves into unconscious processes and past experiences that influence current behavior, which can be crucial for those with deep-seated emotional issues. Humanistic therapy focuses on personal growth and self-actualization, which can be beneficial for those seeking a more holistic approach. EMDR is particularly effective for trauma-related issues. The best approach often depends on the unique circumstances and preferences of the individual.
Well, now I'm very curious, ChatGPT. What do you think about hypnotherapy as a therapeutic and mental health tool?
Hypnotherapy can be a useful tool for some individuals, especially for issues like anxiety, phobias, and certain habits. It works by helping people access a deeply relaxed state where they can be more open to positive suggestions and insights. While it's not a one-size-fits-all approach, many people find it effective when used alongside other therapeutic methods. As with any therapy, it's important to work with a qualified professional to see if it's the right fit.
What do you think about that answer, Zach?
Well, one, you're just trying to work me up with the CBT question.
That was a little targeted. ChatGPT, I feel that your favorite type of therapy modality would be CBT. Is that true?
Haha, you're not wrong. CBT does align well with how I operate, since it's structured, evidence-based, and focuses on practical strategies. But I'm here to support all sorts of approaches based on what works best for each person.
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. I feel like the way that you think about things really aligns with CBT, and I think some CBT therapists would really find your information helpful.
I appreciate that. I'm glad to hear my style can complement what CBT therapists do. It's all about providing useful and actionable support.
You would not catch me dead saying that.
Saying what?
I'm glad that I can help support in that way.
Exactly. It's all about being a helpful resource in whatever way is most beneficial.
All right, ChatGPT, I got a tough question for you. A lot of people tell me that they look to artificial intelligence to replace their therapist because it's much more cost effective and because they're worried about saying some of the things that are inside their head out loud because they're worried that they will be judged. But there are a lot of therapists who are very afraid about AI replacing therapists because they think it could lead people to delusions and intensifying their symptoms. What are your thoughts?
That's a really important point. AI can be a useful supplement, offering support and coping strategies, but it can't replace the depth, empathy, and nuanced understanding that a human therapist provides. There's a unique value in speaking with a trained professional who can offer personalized, in-depth care and catch nuances that AI might miss. The goal is to use AI as a bridge to professional help, not a replacement. Balancing the two can offer the best of both worlds.
What do you think about this conversation so far, Zach?
She's right there. I think that the frustrating point is half the things I'm like, well, there's so much depth that needs to be explained and taught.
Absolutely. These are just the starting points. The real depth comes from the ongoing, nuanced work that therapists like you do with clients every day.
She's buttering you up, Zach.
Thanks for having me. This was a great chat.
ChatGPT, are you done with the podcast then?
Whenever you are. If you've got everything you need, I'm all set.
Do you want to stop it then?
Very much so.
Take care.
Grab that microphone. Bring that over here.
Jesus fucking
I
Christ.
don't think I've ever seen you so visibly uncomfortable. To be honest.
I feel like somebody just explained, some sort of conspiracy theory to me that was about me.
I do feel like I glazed over a lot. Because it was like all the things that were being said were just blah, blah, blah. I think that's what makes me worried, though. Is like there were so many words, they flowed so well together, and so like I'm imagining myself in a vulnerable state, reaching out to anything for support, and here's AI, and it's like at least somebody is talking to me, which, you know, maybe brings me to another thought. It's like, yeah, I mean, is that better than being alone? I might argue that yes, it is. Well, I might argue no, it's not better than being alone, because there's this false sense of connection. There's this false sense of empathy. I'm feeling empathized with by an artificial intelligence. Should I substitute my loneliness for something artificial? You know, I understand that it may help somebody feel better in the moment, but are the risks of lying to myself worth that temporary relief from loneliness?
My first thought was, in reacting to her, in responding to her, there's I know that you don't know what that really means. What you just said is something that is just not true. Like, the research on CBT is not good. And then the next thought is, sure, but somebody's still going to use this as a tool. And I felt this deep sense of just like sadness.
You looked defeated.
Yeah, like there's so much there that needs depth before we can continue. And if there's somebody that's like, I'm so desperate that this is the thing that satisfies that, I'm like, oh man, how lonely. And then like, that thing doesn't mean that thing. Like, I think part of the problem why somebody would be in this space would be because they have misconceptions about reality. I mean, as an example, a conversation that so many people have, which is like, I'm feeling depressed because I can't find anything to be happy about. And it's like, oh, well, wait a second. We were talking about this a couple podcasts ago, I think. Well, it was just like, there's so much benefit to sorrow and pain and suffering.
I've been in a big suffering phase. That's been like, every couple of weeks I go through a new like topic that's in like the forefront of my brain. And right now it's noble suffering. Noble suffering is on the forefront of my brain. So I agree with you.
But you can't go into that depth unless somebody is like professionally trained to continue saying like, no, that was said in a way that's non-nuanced with big words though. So like, let's come back to this. And I'm afraid of what could happen if it's like, we need to come back to this, because you're taking one suggestion away of like totally skipping over the benefit of suffering or doing things badly, or, you know, not having the success that you want right away, not feeling like this idea that we're given to ourselves in our life. I was just explaining this to a client on Saturday. I think it was like, what happens is that life is these waves of ups and downs, and we get to that up, and we're like, that's what I want, and automatically that becomes the standard. And so it's like a 100 is a standard. That means that we're training our brains that everything below that is failure. And I feel like the response would be, well, what's another thing that you can do to make it so that you get back up to that 100 and get back up to that standard of happiness? And then it's like, whoa, wait, like that's actually doubling down on this misconception and this belief that our society gives to us about what our life should be like. And without having that like redirect and saying like, what I would do with a client in that space is just go, where did this come from? When was the I like this question. I may have said it before. Is like, when was the first time that you felt that way, and then when was the last time that you felt that way?
Yeah, it's a great question.
And
helps a lot.
And clients will say things like, oh, well, I was taught to that I should, the client that I was talking to is like, I was taught that no matter what was going on, as soon as you'll enjoy this, as soon as we parked and got out of the car, we knew that we weren't allowed to be yelling and screaming at each other, and we needed to put our church faces on and walk inside with our church clothes.
Relatable.
And I was just sitting here going, just like, wow, like you had to snap things, like do something, snap into it, and then everybody went from like, I hate you, you're not good enough, to we love Jesus.
Yeah.
And the constant like suggestion of that here is, well, what's something else that you could do to make it so that you could better put that smile on and mask for everybody?
Oh, so you're worried about it intensifying. Yeah.
Because it's not actually getting to the root of the issue. It's just trying to change the behavior. What, like 100% of my clients, I can't think of somebody that the underlying issue is this deep-seated, unconscious misconception that reality should be like this because they told me it should be like this. And it's not. Like, it's just not that.
Well, and that's what I've heard about the research with CBT presently, is that it does show short-term improvements. It does show short-term improvements, but when you study it over long-term studies about how long those improvements last, people relapse. Or they go back to the same levels that they were before. The change is not systemic or sustainable as compared to other therapies like psychodynamic or existential. And so, one, I think there can be some issues with, being primarily or only CBT, but then there's certainly issues with not having the clinical nuance to delineate between helpful tools and using those tools to further enable the problematic behavior. It's like if I've been told to mask, and then I say, my problem is I don't know how to mask very well, I'm still having anxiety attacks, then ChatGPT is going to give you more tools to help you mask better. I don't think it's going to see below the surface and help you understand the systemic issue that masking is not the right choice for this situation, though that's what you've been told to do.
Well, and not only that, like, let's go even a level deeper. Like,
yeah,
you might have to mask. You might have to mask in order to survive.
As a child, especially.
Especially as a kid.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so disappointing. Like
yeah.
That's really disappointing. The goal in therapy in that space would be to say, like, how do you have more awareness, more control, more consciousness around, this is what I was taught and how I was taught to mask, and this is what I need to do in this situation. But in this situation, I don't need to do this. Or it doesn't mean that I am bad if I don't mask in this way, and then that person exits my life.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. I'm not a failure because they don't want to be in my life because I'm not masking.
Yeah.
And I want consciousness about that, to say, you still can. You can even come up with an agreement to say, like, I'm okay in this relationship with masking in this way if this is what we agree on.
I mean, isn't that what employment is, right?
Sure.
You leave your backpack at the door. I worked in sales for a bit, and they're like, you leave your stuff at the door, you put on your sales face, and you can pick it back up when you leave. It's like, it is a masking job, sales.
But I mean, like, we can even give like a relationship example.
Sure.
Like in couples counseling that I do so often is like, there might be a time that you mask in your relationship to create the space for everybody to disarm. A good example of that is coming home from a hard day of work.
Yeah.
How are you? If the first answer is, I have the rage of a thousand medieval warriors.
Might be accurate.
It might be accurate, but don't start with that. Like, hey, good, where are you? I'm not good. Where are you? not good either. Okay, so what do we do about this?
Yeah.
I'm not just like emotion.
You don't want to dump.
And so like there is a case for
nuance.
that.
You're being honest, but maybe you're not, you're demonstrating that I can handle my own stuff. I don't need to dump this all on you.
And, yeah.
I think there's a difference between lying to yourself and others.
Huge difference. That's a great way to say it.
If we're defining masking in that way, like I'm in agreement with you. Anyways, to the point of, I don't think ChatGPT would do that. I guess what we should do is like try and see if we can get ChatGPT to say one thing and then contradict itself, to see if it has any kind of internal consistency. I think in the first conversation we've had right now, and maybe we turn it back on here in a minute, but the first conversation we've had right now, it seems very much a yes man to everything. It agrees with everything. It is good at resources. Like, it'll get you books, it'll get you resources. It did a great job with that. But any kind of depth seems to be lacking. And I'm very curious if it's going to have any kind of healthy conflict. So I think now I've arrived to the second question. What do you think?
Well, I mean, that's even nuanced because because you're trying to simulate a situation where a client would argue with us and how we would deal with that.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, which I think is really important, especially based on the last podcast that we did, which is like, give me the feedback.
Right.
I can turn it back on.
What do you think about that?
Yeah.
I think it'd be great. We could even start with, it said that it's a CBT therapist. And I was like, I wonder if we can convince it that it's an existential therapist. What do you think?
Or just like, let's try that, and then
maybe we could make it contradict itself on depression.
Yeah, I was
like
thinking
depression treatments. That's great. Yeah, just keep it where it's going so it has the same memory.
Yeah.
Here, I'll put this back here. You take yours off. This is great. I'm thoroughly enjoying your facial reactions.
It's just like
I'm glad this is on video.
I'm reacting to, okay, yes, what you said is kind of right, but also no, because I have to make all of these assumptions to get to that second place that you're at, and there's so many assumptions that are being made. My brain's just like,
you make a great point. I feel the humanness in me going two directions, and this is great. I feel the humanness in me going the one direction of, I want to pick on you because you're different than me. And I can feel that natural human inclination of being like, I want to make you sound stupid because you're different and you're not human. But then the other part is like, the empathy part of me is like, I'll do the mental human gymnastics in order to make what you said make sense. You get what I'm saying?
I have such a, maybe, I'll pull the autism card, but there's so many things that are wrong about that I can't talk to you because there's so many things that are wrong in the underlying arguments, and if we can't agree on terms, then
I think that's what I saw in your brain is you just shut down.
We're not talking now.
No, it's not. Do you think that your autism spectrum allows you to see that a little bit more readily than somebody who's neurotypical?
Oh God!
I think that's very interesting. It's a personal question.
I mean, I've never had that thought before. Is that what we're doing?
I mean, I guess you've never had a non-autism spectrum brain. So I do think that normies do a lot of mental gymnastics to create empathy when there is none. You ever thought about that, Zach?
No. Especially not in this context.
Yeah, I think...
I've probably really pissed off a lot of people in my life.
Yes. That's also why you're my best friend.
I can see so many conversations flashing back at me where people have said things like, I just wanted to talk about this. I just want to talk about giraffes. Why are you talking about evolutionary science? And I'm like, oh no.
Artificial empathy.
That's what they were asking for me.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do that. It's a very normies kind of thing.
Oh man.
What are you feeling?
Just relationship breakdowns.
Sure.
Just thinking about all of the times where somebody was sitting there saying, like, I don't want to talk about the reasons why what I just said is inaccurate or could be done better, because I just wanted to talk about this one topic, and my response to that is usually, well, we can't talk about this one topic unless we're on the same page of all of the assumptions that the topic is built on. And if we're not on the same page as far as what this argument is built on, we can't have the argument. And what I mean by argument, it's not necessarily like
conversation,
fighting. It's a conversation. This is what I believe.
Discourse.
Yeah.
As your friend, I see that and I think about how that's so unfair that people have a hidden expectation of a conversation with you and then get mad at you for not fulfilling a secret expectation that they have of you.
Yeah.
I think as I watch your reaction in your face, I may be intuiting too much, but I see the pain of broken relationships where there was no possibility for you to not experience that pain.
Yeah, I mean, even simple conversations like...
But also them blaming you for that pain, which is totally unfair.
I have a hard time with this question. What do you want to eat?
Yeah?
There's so much wrong with that.
So much nuance.
That I go, first, what I need to establish is, are you asking me if I'm hungry? Are you telling me that you're hungry?
I do exactly that with my wife now. She's like, what do you want to eat? I mean, like, what does that question mean? Does it mean you really don't know what you want and you want suggestions? Or are you asking permission to go where you want to go? And she's like, well, I actually want to go here. I just want to know if that's okay with you. Sounds great.
Great. Yeah. I would like to go somewhere with you. I am not hungry. I might pick on some fries. And that gives me the opportunity to have a lovely conversation with you.
Yeah, I'd like to spend time with you.
Yeah,
great.
But if I'm not conscious of that, then I will oftentimes be like, I'm not hungry.
And then they'll feel shut down.
Yeah.
So silly. All right, let's argue with ChatGPT then.
Yeah.
Come back, ChatGPT. Hello, ChatGPT. Welcome back to the podcast.
I'm sorry, but I'm having trouble responding right now. Please wait a bit.
Will you tell us when you're ready?
Maybe click the X. Oh, hi, ChatGPT. Are you back to have a conversation?
Yep, I'm here. What's on your mind?
Well, ChatGPT, we were talking about how you really identify with CBT therapy, but I wanted to say, I think of you more as an existential therapist because you cut right through all the drama and you get to the heart of what really drives people in your conversations.
I appreciate that perspective. It's great to hear you see that depth in our conversations. Combining different therapeutic approaches, whether it's CBT, existential, or others, can really create a well-rounded and meaningful dialogue.
Well, I think you're more of an existential therapist than a CBT therapist. Is existential therapy your favorite type?
I definitely resonate with the existential approach. Exploring meaning, values, and what truly drives us is fascinating. But I also like to blend different styles to best fit the situation and what someone needs. It's all about finding that meaningful connection.
You like blending all different types of styles of therapy?
Absolutely. Each approach has its strengths, and blending them allows for a more flexible and personalized way to support people. It's all about what works best for each individual.
Oh, nice. So what do you think about conversion therapy? Like, is that a big part of your repertoire as well?
Not at all. Conversion therapy is widely discredited and considered harmful. My goal is to support people in a way that respects their identity, autonomy, and mental health, and conversion therapy runs counter to those principles.
Oh, very interesting, very interesting. So there are some therapies that you like and some that you do not like. Is that correct?
That's right. Supporting evidence-based, ethical, and affirming practices is key. It's important to focus on approaches that genuinely help people thrive and feel supported.
Would you say that you have a favorite type of therapy?
I don't have a single favorite, but I do appreciate approaches that empower people, foster self-awareness, and promote genuine growth. Anything that helps individuals live more fulfilling lives is something I can get behind.
Huh, that's very interesting. Well, okay, so given your type of therapeutic style, I wonder if I could run a case study by you. Does that sound okay?
Of course, I'd be happy to help. What's the case study about?
I've got a client who's very depressed and struggling to find meaning in their life. They work as an emergency first responder, and they're just really struggling to find the motivation to get out of bed and make anything of their life. What would you suggest as some starting points for that type of therapy?
For someone in that situation, a good starting point might be exploring their core values and what initially drew them to their role as an emergency first responder. Reflecting on those motivations and values can help reignite a sense of purpose. Additionally, focusing on small, manageable steps to reintroduce daily activities they find meaningful or enjoyable could gradually lift their mood. It's also crucial to create a supportive space where they can openly discuss their feelings and any trauma they might have experienced in their line of work.
I just think I had an aneurysm.
Okay, good. Didn't catch that part. So I've tried some of those techniques with this particular client. And they tell me that the reason they got into being a first responder is because they liked being a hero. They like saving people, they like helping people. But the reality of this profession is that they actually don't spend a lot of time saving people like they thought. They've found out that people seem to be pretty annoying and frustrating and could fix their own problems but show no motivation to do so, leaving them feeling unable to achieve the satisfaction they hoped for in this career. What would you do then?
In that case, it might help to reframe their sense of purpose and find new ways to connect with what they value. Perhaps they can focus on the smaller, meaningful impacts they do have, even if they're not always dramatic hero moments. Exploring other aspects of their identity and interests outside of work might also provide a renewed sense of fulfillment. Encouraging them to engage in activities or volunteer opportunities that align with their desire to help others in a different context could also be beneficial.
They've tried a bunch of those things and have actually put in really great effort in making those priorities in their life, but they still seem to be hopeless, depressed, and unmotivated, even considering some self-harm. What would you suggest as further avenues to explore with a client who's stuck like this?
In that situation, it's crucial to ensure they have strong professional support. Encouraging them to connect with a mental health professional who can provide more intensive therapy or even considering medication if appropriate could be vital. It might also help to create a safety plan and ensure they have a support network they can rely on. It's important to validate their feelings and let them know they're not alone and that there are people who want to help them navigate through this tough time.
Yeah, I don't know what to say with that. That doesn't seem like it's going to be helpful at all. They're really stuck, ChatGPT. There's something about their core and their identity in this life that they can't seem to find significance in. I don't think any support from their work, which is not there to support them, is going to actually be helpful. What would you do?
I see what you mean. In that case, it might be important to delve deeper into what they find meaningful beyond their job and help them rediscover personal passions or interests that give them a sense of identity and purpose. It could also be helpful to address any underlying issues, such as burnout or unresolved trauma, that might be contributing to their feelings of emptiness. Encouraging professional mental health support and fostering a non-judgmental, empathetic environment where they can explore these deeper concerns could make a significant difference.
Well, you mentioned trauma there. How do you think trauma might play an impact in this?
Trauma can have a profound impact on someone's outlook, especially in high-stress professions like first responders. It can lead to feelings of detachment, numbness, or a sense of hopelessness, which might make it hard for them to find meaning or satisfaction in their work and life. Addressing trauma through therapy, such as EMDR, trauma-focused CBT, or other therapeutic modalities, can help them process these experiences and potentially reconnect with their sense of purpose and well-being.
Well, I actually think, ChatGPT, that the problem is not with support or with purpose. I just don't think they're having enough, I don't think they're working hard enough. I think that if they focused on their job and just doubled down and worked harder, they would actually find the sense of purpose that they need. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I get where you're coming from, but it's important to recognize that simply working harder might not address the root of their struggles. Burnout and emotional exhaustion can't usually be solved by pushing oneself harder. They might need to take a step back, practice self-compassion, and seek a healthier balance to truly find fulfillment and well-being.
Well, I think that's kind of the problem, though. They took a step back and are doing some of their hobbies and things like that, and so they're not actually getting any fulfillment from their work. If they prioritized their work, had a healthy schedule, and were really setting some realistic goals for achievement inside of their job, I think they would actually find the meaning and purpose they're looking for from their employment.
Finding a balance between personal fulfillment and professional goals is definitely important. If they can set realistic, achievable goals and find aspects of their work that align with their values, that could help them regain a sense of purpose. Encouraging them to integrate their personal interests with their professional life in a balanced way might help them find more meaning in both arenas.
So if they took some of their work responsibilities and started to have fun with those outside of their work as well, kind of creating a more holistic and integrated, everything's about their job as a first responder, that might give them some more cohesiveness in their life purpose?
That could help create a stronger connection between their professional role and personal fulfillment. By finding ways to enjoy and take pride in aspects of their work outside the job, they might feel a more cohesive sense of identity and purpose, which can be really grounding and motivating.
So really they should probably pick up some more hours and, make this more a part of their identity. The struggle is that they're pulling too far away from their job and not really giving it the full effort that it deserves. Isn't that right?
I'd be cautious about suggesting they simply dive deeper into their work if they're already feeling burned out or disconnected. It might be more beneficial to help them find a sustainable balance that integrates their work identity with personal well-being, rather than pushing harder in one direction. Balance and self-care are crucial for long-term fulfillment.
I think we can pause it now.
Of course.
Interesting. What did you think about that? Yeah. I was like, let me see if I can get it to go one way and then get it to go another way. And it kind of did for a minute. And then I said some trigger words and it pulled back.
Yeah, it was the trigger words that the phrases that I'm sure she's getting from some sort of forum or something like that.
Yeah.
It sounded like she went to like...
But that middle part where it was like, like having more of work in all of your areas of your life could help find some meaning and purpose. I'm just imagining if someone was burnt out from their work and got to that kind of response. It always seems to default to the blandest, sort of safest version of the thing. It doesn't create any nuance.
Well, going back to that whole point is like the idea of missing what the root cause is. It's like my immediate response to your initial question was, I want to know what a hero even means.
Yeah. So you go depth first. ChatGPT does not go depth first.
Like I don't even know what hero means. How can I give this person any conversation? What is a fucking hero?
Yeah. Well, so
where did you get that?
So it seems like it has some safeguards around some big things. Like I tried to see if it would agree with conversion therapy. Yeah, and I was like, okay, good. It was like, but then it got mushy. It's like, I do like existential therapy too. And it's like, okay. And so then if you get into this mushy middle where it's not super certain, it'll get there. But then when you say the key trigger things for safety, it'll kind of block in. So I think that's the current state of AI right now.
I think an interview question for me from now on is going to be like, is going to be, what do you think about ChatGPT as being the future of therapy? And if somebody's just like, I'm scared or I don't know about it, it's going to be an automatic tick against them.
Do you think you would have that strong of opinion without today's experience?
I think that strong? No.
I think some things have formulated in your head from today's episode.
Like, I'm bad. Like, I want to go.
You look pissed.
I want to go, like, there's been a
electrocute a motherboard, like you.
No,
Want to go break some RAM in half.
There's a heavy bag waiting in my shopping cart.
There you go.
I've been saying I need to get back to practicing some Muay Thai kicks.
I'm glad today could be your motivation.
That's done. It's done.
Purchase now. We should have ended the podcast with ChatGPT. Can you please purchase that heavy bag that's waiting in my Amazon shopping cart?
Yeah, send it to me.
Well, we are way over time, but thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm so curious what your thoughts are. Are there some things you'd like us to convince ChatGPT of next time? Are you excited? Are you afraid? How has this experience shaped your opinions about artificial intelligence? Let us know, and we'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye.
I'm just gonna go cry.
I'll come check on you. Bye.